Hi everyone, thanks for listening today. I'm just going to do a little voice recording of our talk from yesterday afternoon. It was a family service, so we didn't record on the video as we usually do. But we are continuing our series thinking about values as church. Last week we introduced the Woodlands Church family values of hopeful, welcoming, empowered and authentic. As I mentioned last week, one of our distinctives at Branch is that we are focused on family. And yesterday we thought about that in the context of having a family service. If you've been around Woodies for any time at all, the chances are that you will have heard one of us say that we want to be a church that you can bring your friends to. We don't want that just to be for our special services at Easter or Christmas or a dedication. We want to welcome people each and every Sunday. For that to happen, we all need to be on board with it. For the last couple of weeks for us, very practically, that's looked like trying a new setup. For some of us, that can feel a bit uncomfortable, but we want as much space as we can to invite our community, to bring our friends to church, and to welcome people. It also means that we make other decisions about our Sunday services. We recognise that we cannot be all things to all people. Some of us might like a longer service or meatier sermons. We all have our preferences, and that's great. But our default is to make church engaging and accessible, especially for people who are new, visiting or exploring faith. We want to welcome. William Temple says the church is the only society that exists for the benefit of those who are not its members. We are committed to our community, which means we want to introduce people to Jesus. We want to be able to invite people to church here on Sunday, which means we often focus our attention on the out there as much as we do on the in here. We know this at Branch, but it's worth reminding ourselves that church is not the building, it's the people. Nicky Gumbel says church is not an organisation you join, it's a family where you belong, a home where you are loved, and a hospital where you find healing. At Branch, we don't want to be a service that people attend. We want to be a family that people belong to. So let's think about what we mean by when we talk about family. F is for friendly. Someone once said that friends are the family that you can choose. Churches too. Hopefully no one is making you come to church every week. It's a choice that you make. For lots of reasons, but one of the reasons is that we are such a lovely, caring, friendly bunch. Sometimes we can think that friendly is a bit light and fluffy, but I think true friendship done well can be powerful. It not only welcomes people, but it helps them feel valued. I think people can come to church for loads of different reasons. They tend to stay because they make friends. A famous song says, "What a friend we have in Jesus." We want to be more like Jesus. So let's be a church that is friendly. A is for adopted. We had a lovely evening on Thursday evening hearing about Home for Good, a Christian fostering and adoption organisation. We're big fans of them at Branch. I've mentioned before, but if you'd like to go a little bit deeper on how faith and adoption are connected, I recommend that you read this book by Krish Kandiah. It's called The Greatest Secret. It explains that we are all adopted into God's family. We're his children. And when we unwrap that and dig a little bit deeper into that truth, it changes everything. It also means that we're family with each other. We belong together. Psalm 68 says, "A father to the fatherless, a defender of widows, is God in his holy dwelling." God sets the lonely in families. We want our adopted church family to be inclusive and welcoming, especially to the last, the least, and the lost. M is for meals. At Branch, we used to eat together after church every Sunday. It was a wonderful expression of family life together. Plenty of food, sometimes really good food. You'd grab a plate and then sit together each week, likely sitting with different people, eating, chatting, getting to know each other, often having a deeper conversation than you can do over a cup of tea. We often talk about how we can keep that part of our DNA. I think we miss it. We occasionally eat together on a Sunday, but we also make sure that we try and have specific time involving food together. We read in the Gospels that Jesus often spent quality time with his friends and followers over food. We want to make sure that at Branch we don't just turn up each Sunday. We want to invest in quality time together as church family. I is for intentional. It could have been invested or interested. Branch is great at this already, but it's always helpful to be reminded. Often when we have a newcomer or visitor, I struggle to get to welcome them personally because so many of you get there first. It would be easy to turn up on a Sunday and go through the motions. Life can be so busy and hectic, and sometimes church can feel the same. We can slip into the habit of coming just because that's what we do. We can chat to loads of different people, and if we're not careful, it can feel a bit superficial. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you? Yeah, fine, thanks. How are you? Yeah, good, yeah. I would love for each of us to be able to have at least one more intentional and meaningful conversation each week. L's obvious. It's love. I think it's the most obvious and impactful way we can be welcoming and family together. We want to continue to love one another. We often quote John 13 at Branch. It's even on our wall. It says, "A new command I give to you. Love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." We are able to love each other because we know we were loved first. Our love for each other is so significant that other people take notice. When they take notice, they see something different in us. Our prayer is that in the way that we love each other, people see Jesus. Finally, why is for years. I think the temptation when we talk about being focused on family is that we think about children and young people, perhaps even more so on a family service. But for us, church family isn't just about the young. It's about everybody finding family, from the youngest to the oldest. Our welcome isn't just about Sundays. At Playbox, we welcome children and families. At Natterbox and Lunchbox, we welcome older folk too. We want to treat and honour everyone equally. 1 Timothy 5 says, "Do not rebuke an older man harshly, but exhort him as if he were your father. Treat younger men as brothers, older women as mothers, and younger women as sisters with absolute purity." It's saying that we should treat people like family. Branch has always been a place where young and old can find welcome, connection, and a home. As we grow, we are committed to continuing that value as a key part of our DNA. So as we seek to welcome, we want to be friendly, intentional, and loving. I am grateful that we are as friendly, intentional, and loving with our welcome as we are with people who have been in and around our church family for many years. We want to remember that a key part of our DNA is sharing quality time together like we do over a meal. And as we live out what it means to be God's family, remember that we are adopted into his family, which makes us family together, caring for everyone, no matter what age they are. Thanks for listening. Have a great week.